Welcome back to regular programming. Now it's time for the super fun happy horror hour with your hosts, Adam and Mike.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode. If you heard the pilot, thank you for listening and thanks for tuning in and getting to this one. This episode, Mike, we are talking about our first two original v. the remake movies. Fright Night from 1985. I think it's 85, right?
It is 85 and 2011.
And 2011 remake with David Gillespie directing. So we're going to talk about both these movies. We are going to be on a relatively strict, tight time frame of 1 hour. Mike will set a timer and we'll have a 5-minute warning for the first half hour. We'll discuss Fright Night 85 and repeat that for Fright Night 2011 for the second half hour of the show. Should we just get stuck in, or do you want to introduce?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I'm about to press start on the timer so that we're going to have 25 minutes, obviously, and then I'll set another 5-minute for the half an hour. And then basically, I think we've mentioned it in the pilot, but even if we're mid-sentence, we're going to be like, and now on to the 2011 one.
Yes.
And we could be on a great point and it won't matter. We're just going to go, all right, we've put enough time into that.
If the point was that great, we would have mentioned it earlier.
Exactly. And plus, I think it will make for, especially in like maybe future episodes as well, if we do the same sort of thing, it could actually make for some really funny content. Like, especially if there's such a point to be proven and we're like, that's it. And I think we just make ourselves a rule that, like, if let's just say it was me and I'm trying to do this, you just go like, and I'm trying to finish it. You're like, no.
I'll set a timer too, just for my own benefit, I think.
All right, so I'm going to set one. I'm going to press start now, and we're going to start talking about 1985's Fright Night. 25 minutes now.
All right.
How many times do you reckon you've seen the original Fright Night, the 1985 Fright Night?
I can tell you exactly twice. I only watched it for the first time last year. I think it was last year. And then for watching it for this episode as well.
And how do you reckon that went? Like the fact that you hadn't seen it, upon release, and it was something that you only recently watched. Do you think that worked in or against your favor?
That's a really good question, actually. I don't know that it hurt the experience. Yeah, that's a really good question. It probably helped it, actually, because sometimes all films probably need some time to grow and get into the zeitgeist. So not that I knew much about it. I barely knew it was actually a vampire movie, honestly. That's the main reason I probably watched it, because I found it out about it late, and I have my mates who do another podcast were talking about it a lot. So I thought I really should check that out, because I was getting into horror. Yeah, I think it was for its benefit, because I was able to see it from, I guess, 30-year-old, 30-year-ago eyes in modern times, and kind of put it into context what this movie was trying to achieve, which its campy goodness really overflowed and, won my heart, I suppose.
Yeah, so you've also a part of it, it's unique, your situation, because a lot of people of a certain age, if they were to go back and rewatch that movie, it's due to nostalgia. Maybe they haven't seen it since it first came out or anything like that, or, they were quite young when they did watch it. And that tends to be that these people would then go in and sort of watch it with tinted lenses. They maybe remember it being better than what it actually is, or, and that sort of thing. And where your situation is a little bit different, whereas you would have had the ability to watch it upon release, and then just didn't for whatever reason. So you're not necessarily going into Fright Night for the nostalgic factor, because you have no link to the nostalgia side.
But there's still an 80s nostalgia trapped to it, because I am a kid of the 80s. I was born in the 70s, hush hush. So I grew up through the 80s and the 90s, and So I do have a lot of my favorite movies that I would put on at any time from the 80s. So knowing this was from the 80s, I kind of semi knew what to expect. I mean, practical effects and, something that's probably not as slick and glossy as today's horror films. So I was prepared for that, and it delivered.
Mm.
It delivered to me well, it delivered on all those points for me. Like, it definitely feels like an 80s movie. It's definitely campy. It's definitely funny. It's actually got some pretty cool thrills in it. It's got some sketchy writing delivered sketchily sometimes, especially Roddy McDowall. I don't know what your opinion is on that. As much as it's great, like, I do love it, but it is sketchy at times. Yeah, it's delivered on everything I was expecting, and I think that's why I liked it. I did like it more than I expected first watch, just looking back at my Letterboxd review.
Did a second rewatch tarnish that review at all, or
Nah,
did you enjoy it just as
no,
much?
just as much. Just a quick disclaimer, though. I actually did watch the 2011 Fright Night before I watched this one back in.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and that might explain the reason why I like the 2011 Fright Night quite a bit as well. I actually love them equally as much, but for very different reasons, because they are pretty different films.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely are.
yeah, I know we're not here to talk about 2011 yet, so we'll touch on that a bit later. But I just wanted to let you know that I did watch that first originally
That one
before I'd seen.
first.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and that's different. That's something that I wanted to ask you as well. Like, you said that you're a kid of the 80s, 70s. When, like, I'm not, I was born in 1990.
rub it in,
So,
rub it in.
yeah. I wanted to know, though, were these movies, or not necessarily this movie, but in general, were they known to be campy back then? Or was that not something that was, like, acknowledged or really a thing? Like, was that so? If a movie that we call campy now,
Mm,
say Fright Night,
mm.
would that have been seen as campy back then?
I doubt it. I actually really doubt it because it was a whole 80s thing. I probably should say too, another reason why I love this type of movie is because I'm a big Tales from the Crypt fan,
Mm.
especially from that 90s series. I love those older movies. And they had an older show that I'm pretty sure used to be on late at night that I shouldn't have been watching, but maybe watched a few of them. So I love that. Love that vibe. I used to watch the old Alfred Hitchcock Hour. So I now can't remember your question. Honestly, dude, I was going off on
It's just the
this.
campiness.
Oh, the
The
campiness. No,
campiness, yeah.
I don't think it would have been seen as campy back. I don't think people would have understood what campy even meant, especially, well, in my neighborhood. I actually do remember my brothers having, or probably my older brother, because I remember the cover of this being in my house in one of those clamshell
Mm.
VHSs. That happened, but I was actually, because I grew up in the 80s, I watched horror movies before I really should have. Like, I watched The
Yeah.
Exorcist when I was probably 6 or 7, right? And this movie was actually released when I was 8, but probably wasn't in my house until I was 10, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it worked back then. It was at least a couple of years before you got a physical copy of anything.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
so The Exorcist and Nightmare on Elm Street, I had nightmares about those two movies until I was a teenager. Oh, and so this is not something I remember seeing the cover, and the cover of this is pretty fucking scary. Like, it's actually
Yeah.
it's a really, for an 8-year-old or 10-year-old looking at this who's already scared of horror films, it's fucking frightening cover. I'm like, I'm not watching that. Oh,
Yeah,
hell no,
because
I'm not gonna watch
you're
that.
getting the you're getting the vampire coming through the cloud, that's
Yeah,
looming
yeah.
above the house.
It's beautiful artwork. It's
It is,
incredible artwork.
and it's very detailed too. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
censor it, I do remember as a kid seeing this and thinking the same thing, like going like, nah, like I'm not watching this,
Yeah.
And I actually, to an extent, think that potentially the artwork's a lot scarier than what the movie is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And then only now, like, and this is the first time I've noticed it. On the artwork,
Mm.
they've got the house, and there's
Yeah.
the light on in the second story, and there's a silhouette
Ah,
of someone
yeah.
standing. I've never noticed it before.
I don't think I have either.
But just everything about this, and I think from my point of view on Fright Night, I did watch this Fright Night before the other Fright Night.
Yeah. Which is the logical way to do it.
And generally, yeah, like I'd say like that'd be the case for most people.
I'm unique,
But
that's for sure.
you're unique.
Just like everyone
But
else.
But just, I think I saw this at a pretty young age. Like, I wouldn't say super
Right.
young, but like, I reckon I probably would have been like,
So, so in this millennium, in the 2000s, though, probably.
yeah, early 2000 or late 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I reckon I would have been somewhere between like, I don't know, like 10 and 12
Hmm.
when I saw this. And so, anyone listening and to make her brighter feel old, like, I turned 10 in the year 2000.
I don't need help feeling old.
So, yeah. So basically, any year that we're in now,
Mhm.
just add a decade, and that's how old I am. That's how
Yep.
easy it is for me to know my age.
Well,
Is just add 10 years to whatever year it is, and that's how old I am.
well, my age, I turned 50 the same time Star Wars turns 50. So if that helps anyone,
Yeah, okay,
it's going to
cool.
be
All
a
right.
party.
So, so what's it like watching movies in smoke signal?
Yeah, in Morse code, actually.
Yeah. It's crazy seeing with watching Fright Night, the rewatching it recently, and now I would say in my life I've probably watched the 1985 Fright Night. I'm gonna say half a dozen times.
Okay.
In my whole
Yeah.
life, and like hugely spaced apart, like never like near each other, and most likely, like most of the time, it's just been completely random. I wouldn't even know what made me put it on. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
on TV and I decide to watch it, anything like that. And then it just happened to be that this time round, when we were doing the first iteration of the super fun happy horror hour, we
Yes.
were doing like a whole thing on vampire movies, and it was that we decided to watch the
6.
OG, and then yeah, we were going to
Mm.
watch six, including the OG, and then it just happened to be that at the time I thought, why not watch the other one as well? Like I just
Yeah.
thought, why not? And
Well, I said I was
um,
going to anyway.
yeah, so it helped doing that, but it's crazy to see, the people that were in it. Like you mentioned, like Roddy McDowell,
Yep.
who plays Peter Vincent, who
Mhm.
is obviously like a play on names of like Peter Cushing and Vincent Price,
Mhm.
doing sort of almost like a Van Helsing sort of
I,
character.
I didn't put that together, but that's really clever,
Well, there
actually.
you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, you've got that, and, playing sort of like characters that maybe they've played in the past, and also just like a sort of like a Van Helsing type of, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but obviously taking the comedic element of Fright Night and making him that he's not, as,
Well, it's
of a
actually leading
hero
into
as is.
those shows they had in the 70s and 80s of those
Yeah.
late night horror hours, like an Elvira type of thing.
Yeah, that was when they definitely thought that they could bring in sort of the comedic aspects into the
Mm.
movies more and more. And you can see that as a product of what I would say specifically the 80s is, I think, the birth of like horror comedy, or at least like,
Yeah. Yeah.
the marking of it, like that just made that's the time for it. And
Yeah. I think you're
obviously,
right. I think you're right because I think the world started to take itself a little bit less seriously in the 80s because the 60s, 70s, just watch the horror movies from that era
mm,
and they're a little bit more paranoid because of that whole post-war, Cold War type of paranoia. But yeah, the 80s is a bit easier on that.
yeah, and like so, I'm on Letterboxd now, just looking through different things, putting it together, and seeing like where potentially I've known certain like cast members from,
Mhm.
of the of the original movie, and it's funny like seeing, for instance, William Ragsdale, who was in this movie and played Charlie Brewster. I go to their credits and he's in Renfield. Like they've gone and put him in
Ah,
another. And I don't know who he plays in this, and this is a bit of a tangent, but I'm curious to see. It's probably just
I
like a.
didn't realize he's an older priest in Renfield. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. You've got that sort of thing. And I love things like that. I love when they can go, okay, where's this person come from? You know, what's their background? And obviously, like Fright Night's an iconic movie
Yep.
and everything like
Cult
that.
classic.
So it is. And so like he most likely forever going to be known as, you know, known for this movie.
Mhm.
Even though I look through and he's been in a bunch of, you know, movies, including the sequel. He was in part two. But yeah, and but even down to, you know, like and I know we're going to touch on it uh, in about 16 minutes, but even just the way that they've done the remake. But
Mhm.
there's so many iconic scenes in this first movie as well. I remember, and obviously, like I'm an adult now, I may not act like one, but I am. At least, like that's what my ID says.
Mhm.
And the sore bones. uh, but they have this thing of I still remember when I recently watched it, how sort of creepy and unsettling it is when you see Jerry's hand come around the chair.
Yeah.
Like when they're first getting introduced to Charlie. And this is after
Yeah.
Charlie's had the conversation
Yes.
with his mum saying, whatever you do, don't invite him in.
Mm. Yeah.
And like all parents in horror movies, the parents don't listen to the kids.
Correct.
It seems to be a staple with horror movies, just don't listen to
Yeah.
your kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's in that sort of high back sort of like chair. And I remember, and it's when he goes to like turn around to like say hello. And for whatever reason, if I'm remembering correctly, the hand that goes on there has transformed a little bit. He's got a little bit of the longer, darker
Mm.
claws. You know,
Yeah.
he's still looking human
Yep.
and everything. It's like he's only put it just to the hand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just so
and
Charlie knows.
yeah, and I just remember watching that and I go, how like threatening is just that scene, that simple gesture in doing that, like
Yeah.
basically lets Charlie know that one, he's onto him, and
Yep.
two, he's not someone to fuck with,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Just
know,
mind your
because that,
business, mate.
yeah, it's basically there's a chance, we don't know, obviously, but there's a chance that potentially Charlie could have lived, you know, a boring existence next to him and
Yeah.
never have been an issue. We
Yep.
do know that, you know, he did abduct other kids. Like I think it was Billy.
Uh,
That was like one of the first ones that was taken. That was the kid because that's when they noticed that, like,
Billy the Kid. Yeah.
yeah, Billy the kid. Um, I think it was Billy. I'm gonna say Billy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're
Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
there was three like friends that were close or something like that.
Yeah.
So it
Between him
was
and Evil Ed and
an evil,
Billy.
yeah.
We need
So
to talk. We do need to talk about Evil Ed.
well, yeah, yeah, we do. That'll be in the late night section. No, but just that sort of thing is like, like there was a couple of scenes in this movie that are just so threatening without even
Mm.
doing much. Like just even like there's the time where like he breaks the door frame to keep the
Yeah.
door stuck in there.
Yeah.
And at that point, like that is literally, I think, out of everything, it's at that very moment that he's decided not to hide who or what he is, like Jerry as a
Mm.
vampire,
Yeah.
because,
Well, there's
you
no
know,
point anymore, right? He doesn't
yeah.
need to hide. He knows he's caught out, I suppose.
But even like at that point, though, he's basically giving up any sort of secret from the mum as well,
Yeah.
because like, and that's where she's still apprehensive and doesn't like and pretty dismissive even after that because the room gets destroyed from him getting thrown around and everything there. But it's sort of at that point where it's like he doesn't care if people find out now, and that's definitely where he becomes a much more of like a threat.
Absolutely becomes more menacing because he's like, well, there's no point hiding it now. If they know, they know. I'll just then I'll use my powers to tell them to piss off, basically, rather than there are a lot of negatives in this movie that you could really nitpick at
Mm.
that do quite annoy me in it, but because of its vibe and tone, like it kind of overrides that. Like this is really because if you were watching this today for the first time, you're going to watch it and go, "There's so much dumb shit that occurs in this movie," especially from Charlie. Charlie, by the way, is an absolute asshole of a guy. He's a douche from the
Oh
back,
yeah,
from
yeah,
the get-go. Like
absolutely.
the first scene is him basically kind of trying to date rape his girlfriend, right? Like that's
Or
kind of
at
how it
least
begins.
Or at least, yeah, like
Coerce her.
obviously we don't want to get in trouble for saying that if we're wrong, but at least, yeah, definitely at least putting on the moves, trying to, I guess,
I was
like persuade
coercive.
her. Yeah,
He's manipulative.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing, so there's at least,
Mm.
and I don't know if this term really existed back then, but he's definitely gaslighting her as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
Yeah.
that term was something that existed back then, but as the movie progressed, what I'm trying to think, what was the character? Amy? Yeah,
Amy,
Amy.
yeah, Amanda Burse. Yeah.
Yeah, so Amy obviously starts, trying to make amends, and he does too, a little bit, like in the movie, and then quickly stuffs up because he gets sidetracked with the whole vampire neighbor thing.
Mhm.
But I think at the same time, like Amy realizes that there's no point putting in this effort, because she does forgive him time and time again.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
keeps being a dick, right?
Yeah.
And very dismissive. And it's kind of like, it comes down to, I don't know how they would be able to really do the movie the same way now.
Well, no, they couldn't. Well, no, thinking of the 2011 one, I don't think he's quite that rapey.
Well, yeah, no, like, so he almost plays a different character in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Basically, and I know we'll get to it, but basically, I think that was maybe it. Because I don't think when this movie was made, I don't think necessarily that was the intention of the character.
No, look, yeah, different times,
But
different whatever. But yeah, it's like looking at it in modern
it just
eyes,
doesn't
yeah.
age now. And
No,
now it's kind of like, and I'm not making excuses for that. Like, it is uncomfortable to
no,
watch that. Like, and as it should be.
yeah, yeah.
But you can definitely tell that they were never intending for this, because there's another thing I'm going to
No.
point on, like touch on with this as well, that sort of now definitely makes it is these kids are in high school, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what year. I don't think it even. Do they ever tell their age? I can't remember.
I'd say they're like seniors, right, in high school. So probably 17 or 18.
Yeah, I was thinking
16
somewhere
at
between
least.
I was thinking somewhere between like 16, 17 probably.
Yeah.
That's what I was sort of I can't remember if they do say the age. But the other thing that that made it really uncomfortable for me was that, like, it kind of makes Jerry into a bit of a I don't like the word, but like he seduces like he's basically almost like pedo tendencies.
Oh, really? How? What do you mean?
Well, because she's like, remember how he seduces Amy and all this sort of stuff and all that sort of thing. Like,
But
she's like 16.
but
He's
so
a fully
Penny.
grown
Oh, sorry.
Jerry, the
Jerry.
vampire.
Sorry. Yeah. Jerry the vampire.
Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, I was thinking Charlie. I'm like, hang on.
No, Jerry.
Yeah. Well, again, they're vampires. He's a creep. He's evil. So, but yeah.
But that's still like, and I know that, like, potentially, like, I don't know, again, I obviously need to pay more attention, but, vampires could be like, centuries old and stuff like that. So, like,
Yeah.
at what point,
Well,
what age is
where's
he?
the line?
But you at least, like, while you watch it, because it is a visual movie, you at least see someone who's a fully grown adult, who, at least looking at him, you'd say he's like, what, in his 40s or 50s?
Yeah.
Something like that, like, at least in, like, looking at, like, in appearance
Mid-30s,
wise.
maybe. Yeah, but yeah,
Mate.
you're right. Right.
And then she's in high school, for the sake of it, we'll say somewhere between 16 and 18. And I just go, oh, that doesn't sit well with me either.
No. But again, that's very much an 80s thing. But I mean, but it's also a Bram Stoker's thing. Like, it's an original Dracula thing because,
Yeah.
Dracula does it with what's her face? Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder. Like
Yeah.
yeah. But
And there, so that was just like a sort of level of like I was just like, meh, that also
yeah,
hasn't like aged well. Again, you know, like I don't ever think that there's any sort of like insidious reason into like these movies having
no, no, no,
these scenes, and you know,
not at all.
I just think that it just comes down to you know that term of it didn't age well.
Watch any
You know,
John Hughes film from then, like it's the same stuff. There's so
yeah.
much, yeah. There's a lot
And you're
of,
just like,
yeah,
you know, and which is, I think, but in all honesty, I think that's also logical, and it's also like a point of like just like human evolution, right? We've now like just based with how the world goes and what's expected of us. We
yeah,
know that that's just not acceptable. Therefore,
yeah,
we're now getting movies that don't show that just
yeah,
because we go, people aren't comfortable with that anymore.
yeah.
You know that that's not acceptable. It's not like it can be shrugged off. I think we're now in a time, and it doesn't really matter too much about generations, but I think
Mhm.
we're at a point in time where people just don't shrug things off. 5
5 minute
minute
warning.
warning. All right. So we're not.
Just
We
fine.
don't.
Should we just do final points?
Yeah,
Maybe.
so I think final points for this though. So we got final 5 minutes, which I have set the timer for.
Yep.
But I do want to talk about Evil Ed.
We do need to talk about Evil Ed.
Now this is where I think, you know, again, just we're not here to yuck anyone's yum. And I think so. The term is what they get into, what they do in their own time is 100% up to them and
Oh,
good
how's
for
this relating
them.
to Evil Ed?
Oh, you don't know? Okay, well, I'm going to be telling you something. You go first, and then I'll tell you something interesting. So,
Okay.
I actually really like the character Evil Ed.
I think he's cool as hell. He's like this coked out weirdo with his laugh. That's just
His
he's
voice.
the guy who's playing him is awesome. I think he's done such a great job. But I
Yeah.
did want to also mention that Jerry, the vampire,
Mm.
he eats apples. That's the only time I've ever seen in any vampire movie that a vampire can eat food.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they throw up. Anyway, I did want to bring that up for some weird reason before the thing.
But yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about.
So, Evil Ed, right? Now, firstly, I want to say he is a character that gets turned into a vampire, and I don't think he was ever any more evil than what he already was, right?
He was probably better, actually.
He was actually, imagine turning around and go, Evil Ed, we actually just ended up calling him Ed because he became really nice. Yeah,
He just grew teeth. Yeah.
yeah, like he's got this really cool brand of a crucifix on his forehead now, but he's sweet. No, like this is just a little bit of trivia for you. Again, not to yuck anyone's yum, but after this, he went on to go into adult films.
But the real actor.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a porn
Yeah.
star.
So, and
Wow.
it was, I think I think he was into like, it was all like the same sex stuff. I think he was into, and then I think he went back to doing, like movies and stuff as well. Like I was trying to look at his filmography after Fright
Wow.
Night, and he did. Yeah, I can see here. It does look like he was a bit of
Oh,
a
yeah.
gimmick. He did go on to do some like more like vampire-y type
Okay. Can I read out
movies.
I need to read out some of these things, some of the titles, please.
if
We've
you
got,
wish.
it gets worse and worse, but we've got Hunk Hotel, Just 18 and Gay, Motel 6, Buff and Gay, Black Men, White Men, Butt Blazer, Uncut Glory, Leather Buddies. It just keeps going. Like, wow. I did not know about this. Seaman Training Gay.
But
Wow.
this is where it gets really interesting. with our 2 minutes left, though, is he did want to come back to doing feature films,
And he
You
did.
know, and he did. But now that you've mentioned it, and I don't know how it works and how a movie gets put on Letterboxd, but only some of those titles that you said there are on Letterboxd. Like, and
Oh, really?
which I was surprised. I didn't know how much they would put on, if any. But interesting enough, I found out that he supposedly said no to Fright Night Part 2 to do
Right.
976 Evil, which is a movie directed by Robert England.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so supposedly that's why he wasn't in part 2 or something like that, or like, why they didn't bring back, him at all. Because Evil Ed's my favorite in the
Yeah,
whole
he's
movie.
great. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's awesome. That laugh that he has is
Yeah.
like iconic. Like when he laughs, how like menacing, but also hilarious and almost like adorable. That
Yeah.
laugh is. He's kind of like Chucky. Like he's like you shouldn't find him cute, but he kind of is at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I didn't know that, and it just happened to be that I tend to watch movies and go down rabbit holes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like
I do too.
if I enjoy a movie, I go, oh yeah, like what have I seen these people in something? Have I gone and like, well, what else are they in that I can go and watch, like so that I can hunt it down and watch it. And yeah, like I just went into that. I was like, oh okay, cool, no worries, and yeah, and we have no
Fright Night
minutes left.
2011.
We're going into 2011. All right, so I
Just
mean,
like
firstly. Can we start this off very quickly by saying R.I.P. Anton Yelchin?
Yeah,
A
definitely.
great actor,
Definitely.
gone way too young,
What a-
and the story behind how that happened as well is
Yeah.
like absolutely heartbreaking.
He would
and-
have been a superstar, this kid.
I think so. Like it seemed like he was getting to the point where was choosing roles that were right for him.
He was a great Chekhov. He was great in the Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
he was.
look,
What a
I-
shame.
I'm a Dean Kuntz fan. A lot of
Yep.
Dean Kuntz movies are terrible, though. There's not a lot that like are good. And this movie got a lot of hate. However, I didn't mind it. It was shit compared to the book, but he was in Odd Thomas, which ended up being a franchise series for Dean Kuntz. Like in books, they never did another movie.
Mhm.
But that was actually one of the first movies I ever watched him in. And I know we're going into a tangent, but he was in like, Alpha Dog, Green Room. Like Green
Yeah.
Room is one of my favorite movies of all time,
Yeah.
And it just happened to be like he was in Terminator.
He's in Only Lovers Left Alive too. I don't know if you've seen that. That's another vampire movie.
No, I haven't. I need
You
to
should
watch
check
it.
that out. Yeah, it's really, really good.
But like I think he was at the point where he was starting to get the movies that were going to be right for him, where he could be a little bit more selective. He could like make these choices, and yeah, so it's devastating to see that. And I just thought that it would be good to sort of touch on that first,
Yeah.
just because it's devastating to think about.
Deserves the shout out.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, and then in this, he was great in this as well.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where like maybe I'll start with this one is, obviously we're talking about how the original Charlie acted towards his girlfriend, Amy.
Yep. Imogen Poots in this one.
Yeah, and in this one, yeah, so they got the same names. Yep, cool. All right, so we got Charlie and Amy. In the original, obviously he was a bit persuasive, coercive, a bit of a gaslighter and a manipulator. Like basically a dickhead boyfriend. Like he wasn't great. He wasn't, he was not. This one, it's almost to an extent, they almost flipped the roles a little bit. A little bit. Not to say that, she didn't do any of those things really, but they had.
They weren't those typical 80s horny teenagers though.
Nah, they weren't.
Yeah.
But Amy in this one was popular and a part of the popular ones, and
Yeah.
Charlie was not. He was a part of like the
Mm.
nerdy crew, and it never goes into why or how they became a couple. You know, because you got a popular girl and he wasn't.
Well, that she does talk about there is a scene where she talks about why like she likes him because he's not like those other
Yeah,
blonde idiots.
yeah.
Like he's different and he's
But
interesting.
we don't get like a backstory of like how they met and how it happened. Like I'm guessing it's school
No, no,
and
no.
like
Well, we
living,
don't. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't need to. I don't think that needs to be fleshed out.
but they in this one, like, you know, it's him where he's inexperienced. He, you
Hmm.
know, and in this case, uh, you know, Amy's trying to put the moves on and go, you know, like now would be a good time, sort of thing. I guess that's the best way to say it. And by that point, he's already distracted by Jerry. You know,
Yeah.
like Jerry's already come in. His mum's like in love with her, in
Uh-huh.
love with him. And I think straight from the very beginning, the 2011 version takes way more comedic elements than the original.
Yeah, this one is definitely funny. I think there's lots of reasons why I think this one is actually superior from a storytelling point of view. Uh, for the simple fact that there are characters introduced here and they are shown as growth. They are shown to grow. In the 85 version, that's not it. They're very one-dimensional characters, and it's just they're here to meet to get to this plot point, then move on to the next plot point. This one, there
Mm.
are actually fleshed out characters a little bit more. Like you said, Charlie isn't as like a massive douche like Charlie in 85. He's a little bit of a douche in some respects, but he's just not
Yeah,
a massive one. He's obviously very perceptive on the way he sees Charlie and his mum flirting with him and all that stuff. But yeah, Toni Collette, we have to mention, is his mother in this one. Again, as always, is awesome, but she has some agency in this as well.
which is good because the mum in the first one didn't really, you know,
She's
it
there to
was,
invite him inside. That's
and
literally
that
all
was
she
basically,
does.
and then
Yeah.
to get stuck in her bedroom.
Yeah.
And I always love it when we get people like, you know, like, and females having like critical roles in movies
Yeah.
and doing something, you know, they don't have to be damsels. They do stuff like the car scene, you know, like seeing like
Yeah.
they're all doing their own part, you know, Charlie, Amy, and the mum, you know, are all trying to, I guess, like rid the car of this vampire and all playing their part, trying to help each other while not being completely useless. And I like that. I don't like when there's some sort of like almost, and sometimes it's not hidden too well. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
very on the nose. Where it's like, oh, I'm man, I am superior. You know, like as soon as I see that in
Yeah.
movies, you know, I struggled. You know, there's nothing to say that it can't be reversed or that it can't be, you know, like an even playing field with this sort of stuff. You know, especially when it comes to if you look at really what survival is in these movies, it's definitely more about being logical
Yeah.
than having anything to do with like the physicality of it. You know, you've got to outsmart a
Definitely.
vampire. You
That's
know,
yeah. Yeah.
because technically a vampire versus a human, if we're going based on fear, like, you know, pure strength, no human has a chance, right? Like it just
No,
doesn't happen.
absolutely not.
So I do like that this is the way that they take on this, and I think that that was a really cool thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then yeah,
should we compare? Well, I do want to. You can't not compare Colin Farrell with Chris Sarandon. Colin Farrell is really menacing in this. This is actually the film that made me start liking Colin Farrell, and actually him becoming one of my favorite actors of modern times. He's quite menacing in this film, where Chris Sarandon is campy and really over the top and chewing the scenery, where Colin is just really measured and he's plays evil really well. Uh, but he also in this one, the difference, he doesn't have a familiar. Like Chris Sarandon in the first one has a familiar, his
mm,
little henchman. He doesn't have one here. Still eats apples though, and drinks beer, which I still find interesting that vampires are consuming food.
Yeah, look, obviously they've got to do certain things to, keep things, as what's the word I'm looking for? Like as a tribute, like a homage
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah,
original. So like that's where they'd
yeah.
bring in things.
Hmm.
But you're right, like about like Colin, like to see him play this character is a little bit different to what he's kind of done before. The only thing that I can
Yeah,
think of where like he's been pretty menacing was in Daredevil, but obviously at the same time it was very much of a more cheesy type thing. Like it's Daredevil. He plays Bullseye. He's like, but you get the idea. And I'm trying to think. There's pretty sure there's a movie. It might be like Pride and Glory or one of those type movies where I think there's a movie where he like plays like a corrupt cop or like a gangster or something like that. Um,
yeah.
and
He's
this sort
definitely
of
played a dick before.
and this is the one that like most felt like that movie. I was like, oh, he plays this character really well. And that type of character. He was great in Seven Psychopaths, which might be
Yeah, I
what,
love that movie.
which might, I kind of think could be his best movie. Um, but he was great. But then, can we also, straight off the bat, before I talk about something good about this movie, I gotta say
Hmm.
something bad. I gotta say something bad. And then I'll then say two good things about it. I deliberately deducted like at least a star off my rating.
For Fright Night 2011.
Yep,
Oh,
because
yes, I do
they
want to talk to you about that.
cast
I read your review.
probably my like one of the most hated, maybe nice guy in
I
real life,
Yeah,
but
I
in
don't
every
understand.
movie I've seen him in, that's Christopher Mintz plus. I hope
Plus,
I'm
yep,
saying that right.
yep,
Every
yeah, yeah,
movie role I've seen him in, I've wanted to punch him in the face.
yeah. I don't see. Don't even like super bad.
Nah,
I don't
nah.
get it.
I'm trying to think what else I've seen him in. I think Kick Ass. I think he was in Kick Ass.
Yeah, Kick Ass. He's in Kick Ass. Yeah, I haven't
Nah,
seen him
didn't
in
like
much.
him in
Oh, Role
that.
Models. Have you seen him in Role Models?
Yeah, hated him in that.
Yeah, we all have our little things of actors we
Yeah,
just hate for
and
no real reason.
it's his face and the expressions that he does. Not so much his face,
No,
his
I get it.
expressions that he pulls, and his voice annoys me. But then also, they
Mm.
seem to get him to play the
He's a whiny
annoying
little bitch in
character.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he tends to play whiny little bitches in a lot of movies. Now,
typecast. Yeah.
I've seen some footage of him in everyday life. Like he was like filmed like signing stuff for people like at I think it was like
Mhm.
Disneyland or something like that.
Yeah.
And in that, obviously, like his demeanor's way different, and he seems like a chill guy. And I go, okay, fair enough. But the character, and that's why, like I'm saying, I don't hate the guy. I hate the characters he plays.
Yeah.
And so this,
No,
like,
I get it.
as soon as I saw, especially since like he's meant to be Evil Ed, right? And we both just
Yeah.
said how much we loved the
He's
1985 one,
yeah.
and then
He's
this
not.
is the replacement we get.
But well, again, that's not his fault. There's the character that they wrote for him in this. I don't know if there's cut scenes or not because he's not given a lot in this. Hasn't got a lot of screen time, really, has he? Either.
And he doesn't get called evil in it either.
No, no, no. I guess they tried to move away from that type of some things, but yeah,
But
he's not given the same amount of screen time or importance in this movie. I mean, Dave Franco's probably in it just as much, to be honest.
I actually, and that's what I was about to say, I actually wonder if there's something like maybe they split the Evil Ed persona over two characters.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I actually think Dave Franco's character
Mm,
is more in line with Evil Ed
yeah,
and think could have been Evil Ed. Like, I think if he would have played that role,
yeah.
would have done it. And I reckon I would have liked that role. I think I
Yeah,
would
it's
have
weird.
liked his Evil Ed. I reckon that he's more Evil Ed than what
Mince
Ed in
plus.
it is. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's where like it's strange casting because they've gone and given
Mm.
Dave Franco a part in it, and that role didn't exist in the 1985 version.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Why did they split it? I mean, they split it. There's a reason for it, I suppose. Speaking of, well, characters, campy characters, David Tennant in this is a bit of
Amazing.
a dick. Well,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
See, I think I like David Tennant. I love Good Omens and a lot of the stuff I've seen him in,
Mm.
but I do think he's loved a little bit too much. But he is fucking hilarious in this, especially towards the end. He does some. I haven't written any of it down, but I just remember him making me laugh more than anything. Just the way he delivers. I mean, they're funny lines, but the way he delivers them is incredible. Like he does such great work in this.
Yeah,
His whole character of Peter Vincent is very different to the Roddy McDowall one.
definitely a lot different. So where in the original, the Peter Vincent was very much, I reckon sort of like along the lines of like a Helsing sort of character, playing like the vampire hunter type roles
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
get in it. Whereas in this one, there's two characters that I reckon this Peter Vincent in the 2011 one is combined. So one is Chris Angel, the
Yeah,
magician,
yeah, definitely.
crossed with Russell Brand,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
which everyone
yeah,
like. That guy's a
yeah,
dick, right? Like everyone knows that guy's a dick,
yeah.
and I think
Egomaniacal
he'd take,
womanizer. Yeah,
yeah, and I think at least to some extent he's like that in real life as well. Like only we can go on what we see and everything, but yeah, like we get that, and I just go, it's like he's done this, and it's obviously you've gone from like a character that was maybe in like a campy TV show, but he's a vampire hunter, and he's pretty like sort of meek and mild in the 1985 one. And then in this one, you've got a guy that's a celebrity doing almost like the Vegas
yeah.
casino shows, magician type stuff.
Well, he's very much a 180 in the character because Roddy's character in 85 is very much meek and mild and
Yeah.
completely not at all confident in in anything he does. Where David Tennant is uber confident, over the top, like cock of the walk. He has this massive big lair with his hot little minions walking around serving him as well, right? It's a very different character, but
Yeah, he's in like, like a high rise building. But then at the same time, where they do have the similarities is the uncertainty with the actual actions of hunting vampires. Because as soon as that comes to David Tennant's Peter Vincent, that cocksure attitude of what he's had and, that rock star attitude fades away, and then that's when we do see the uncertainty where he goes, no, like I didn't sign up for this. And it only happened to be that, when the evil came knocking on his door, literally, that
yeah,
he had to get involved, and we still see, whereas the original Peter Vincent wasn't really, not that much of a dick, really. Not really. He was more of a, I don't
no,
want to
he
do
wasn't
it.
he wasn't a dick. He was a coward
Uh,
coming off as yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this one, even during, the later scenes and everything,
Mm.
David Tennant still stays as a dick. There's still that sort of, up until his sort of redemption towards the very end of the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
just talking about it out loud though, they're both cowards, but
yeah,
David Tennant's character
absolutely.
is more confident. He's just more confident and more facade, whereas Roddy McDowall owns his cowardice and happy to admit that he's fuck this shit. This is too much for me. I'm getting out of here and don't want to be a part of it.
And
Whereas Tennant does that, but he's also really cocky.
I think that's where it comes into in both the movies. It's a little bit different. So, for
Yeah.
instance, in the first one, most of the most of the movie, almost the entire movie, is set inside the Brewster house.
Yeah.
Including getting Peter Vincent to go there. Like you're taking him out of his comfort zone and everything that he's doing,
Hmm.
putting him in an area that he doesn't know,
Yeah.
and making him come to him. Whereas in the 2011 one, like I said before, the vampires at least come to Peter Vincent in this one. He
Yeah.
gets basically threatened in his own home. You know, we see what happens. There's the fight scenes in that and all that that happen. That it kind of leaves him no choice, that he has to almost finish what was started.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he was very much against it towards the start of the movie, or like when he was in it.
Mhm.
He's like, not my problem, like, and got security guards to like kick Charlie out. But Charlie left the photos that that Peter Vincent looked at later, and then like sort of tried to give advice, but basically wanted to stay at arm's length of all of that and not really get involved. Still, like, sort of give him help, and then that's it. And it only happened to be like when it turned around and he did get dragged into it that he's like, all right, let's do this. Imogen Poots was amazing in it.
Yeah, we have to talk about her. She's really good. She's better than she is in 28 Weeks Later, that's for sure. I don't know if you remember her from 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah, the daughter.
She's not great in that. In this, she's really great.
She wasn't. I don't reckon she was given a lot in 28 Weeks. If you think about it, there's not a whole lot of dialogue that is there, and I don't know what the time difference is. I'm just going to bring it up now.
What, 10
So
minutes?
20.
Oh, in between those two movies.
So 28 Weeks Later was.
She's very young.
2007.
Only 4 Okay.
Oh, okay. So that's not too vastly different, but in saying that, that's let's have a quick look. What did I say? 2007. So she would have been 18.
Yeah.
In the first one.
17 when it filmed, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have done some like pretty good stuff. They've done some horrible stuff too. I'm pretty sure they were in the Need for Speed movie. They were.
Okay, I've not seen
that. Was terrible. They were in a movie called I Kill Giants. That's all right. Like
she's in Green Room too. Like you've mentioned.
She's in Green Room. Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Filth. She's in Filth. Yeah.
Yep. So that's where it goes. Okay, cool. I get this and I understand it.
She's young Valerie in V for Vendetta too.
You know what's what I've just seen here though? This is going off topic a little bit, but so Craig Gillespie, who directed the 2011 one, he is directing Supergirl.
I'm a big fan of Craig Gillespie. Look at his credits. He's done some good work actually. He did Dumb Money.
I, Tonya.
Pam and Tommy. I, Tonya. I think he also didn't he have something to do with Cruella? I think he might have written Cruella.
Yeah, he directed it.
Directed Cruella, did he?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm looking at producer. Sorry. Yeah.
Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, I love Lars and the Real Girl. I think that movie's amazing.
So yeah, that's where like I sort of go, all right, this is cool. They do good stuff. I think Imogen Poots is someone that, you know, you don't get in a lot of things at the moment though. I don't think we're getting too much. But if you would have asked me at the time of Green Room, I would have thought that Anton and Imogen would have been on the same sort of like trajectory.
Yeah.
You know, to become, you know, every generation has their like greats and everything, and the ones that sort of stand out above it. And I think if you would have asked me then, I would have said, I think those two would have been in there together. But it obviously hasn't played out that way, which is unfortunate. But Dave Franco was good in it. I really liked.
I like Dave Franco.
I'm just trying to see, like, the only thing that we miss here is even now, Tom Holland, the director of Fright Night and the writer of Fright Night, he's always been super passionate about that movie. It's a love project for him. Like, absolutely is. He wrote the books for it as well.
Oh, okay.
And so once you know that, he's kind of got a little bit of like, there's a fair bit of heart in that movie that I don't think that the remake can replicate because of it.
Yeah, you reckon? Okay. I'd like you to tell me, because I actually think this one maybe doesn't have more heart, the 2011, but I think it has more gravitas from me caring about the characters' perspective. Like I actually care
Yeah,
for
oh,
these
I do.
live or die. In the first
I
one, it's just
definitely did.
it's very niche.
This movie was definitely more. I think this was more slice of life.
It's very more it's more grounded
Yeah,
for a
absolutely
vampire
is.
movie, I guess you would say. But
The cast is way better. Like I can't really
yeah,
fault
definitely.
anyone in it except for Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Which, if you ever listen to this, Christopher, I'm sorry. You're probably a nice guy, but the
I
characters you
like it. I
play
like it,
just
Chris.
yeah.
I actually like him
But
in
that maybe
everything.
but maybe that makes him a good actor that he can play someone that I just
Yeah,
hate, right?
I'm like that with Ben Affleck. Like
Yeah.
I'm known for my former hate, but growing to love Ben Affleck.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's it. But I think overall, uh I don't know. I really like I like the remake more than I thought it would. Um
Yeah.
and
So do we want to talk about what we rated them?
yeah, so what did you rate the first one?
Well, look, just off the cuff, I've given them both 3.5, but because I love them both
Yeah.
like I said, very different reasons. I think I love them both equally, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, so I rated the original, the 1985 Fright Night. I rated that 4 stars. Just because it was hard for me to fault it, just as a movie. I just enjoyed it. That's the kind of movie that I could watch again. That would be an easy comfort movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a comfort movie.
Especially since now I've seen it enough times that I could, let's say cook dinner while watching it,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
do that sort of thing. And it is fun. And I think it just has a lot of cliche sort of
Mm.
things that I enjoy with it. Fright Night 2011, I rated 3 stars, but that's also because I took a whole star off for Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Again, sorry, Chris.
Even though he's in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but it was 10 minutes that I just couldn't get back. Overall, I prefer the casting in that one. I do like how grounded and I guess as realistic as they could make a vampire movie. I think that they did good. Because now we got both those movies. Neither one had like a vampire wearing all leather and like trench coats like they seem to think all these movies have to have, especially modern day ones where it's meant to be like almost grunge to be a vampire and goth.
Emo vampires, yeah.
I'm just like, nah, I don't need it. But yeah, like I enjoyed it. It's not, I don't know if I'd necessarily add it to my collection. I wouldn't buy like a 4K. I don't know if I'd do it.
I'd buy but here's a strange thing. I actually buy a 4K of the first one, probably not the second one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of the first one, I would.
Yeah.
I would buy, but of the remake, probably not.
You don't think you'd watch the remake very often?
Nah.
Every time I watch number one, I'm going to watch the second one. I'll watch the remake.
But I still haven't watched part 2 though, so I that's where it comes into.
I've never seen Fright Night 2 either.
Yeah, so maybe we need to do that for an episode as well.
Maybe.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it has the same rewatchability that the first one has. But that's me saying I've only watched it once.
Yeah. So this was your first watch for this one. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that at the start.
I don't either, but I've only ever watched the 2011 one once, and that was like last week or the week before.
Hopefully it scratches the itch because it's like I said, this was the first. I watched 2011 before 85, so that might have helped my experience with both of them actually.
Yeah, so maybe maybe I'll wait a little bit, rewatch it, and see how it goes into that. But look, both enjoyable movies.
Yeah, both great movies. Definitely both. Well, for me, both great movies. We probably should begin to wrap up. We're at our hour or close enough. I don't have any other final thoughts for this. No,
that's basically it. We can basically put a stake in it if you want.
Pun accepted. Just to we did talk about Letterboxd a lot, so you can catch me, Curb Rider, on Letterboxd. Mike, you are on Letterboxd.
I am Beyond Horror 666 on Letterboxd. Yes.
Yeah, you can
But
also
yeah,
you can also catch me at curbside_collections on Instagram, and Mike is Beyond Horror without the 666 on Instagram. That's right, right?
yep, that is
But
it.
also has a 666 on YouTube. What are we in for next episode? Have we decided what we're doing next episode? Next fortnight?
Truthfully, no, because I'm still, guys. I'm trying to find a
I
hard
reckon.
subbed version of Humanist.
Oh, maybe we'll discuss. It'll be a surprise for everyone, but I have an idea that I might talk with Mike about off the
All
air
right,
real quickly. But until then,
we love a
um,
surprise.
the Super Fun Happy Horror Hour is a member of the SPDM Crew podcasting network, where you can find many different topics that something will scratch your itch there. And no other shout outs needed. Thank you very much for listening to our very first proper episode, and we hope you join us for many, many more.
Go and watch Fright Night.
Get out.